what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today is kind of a two-parter. So this is a GoodVito story to start out the video. Vitaly Ugonikov, the Russian bodybuilding sensation that has had much conversation going into his pro card win and now going into his pro debut in September. So the first part of the story, the physique update, where he says he's 15 weeks out right now from the show that he's doing in September. So he posts a front lat spread, a rear lat spread. And look, overall, I would say it looks like he put on some size. He looks big. We already know that he's big, but I think he does look bigger here than he looked at his pro debut. I think he looks wider, but I also think his waist doesn't look as small as we were used to seeing it look. That was like one of the big appealing points of GoodVito's physique, was that he had this small waist and this crazy wide upper body. But I would say in that front lat spread, his waist doesn't look that slender. Now, granted, he is still 15 weeks out here. He's got plenty of time to lean out and slim down that midsection as he gets closer to the show. But that's just one thing that stood out to me. I'm still very excited to see his pro debut. I'm excited to see what ends up happening with his career, all the hype that he's gotten up until this point. But the other part of this story, not just this physique update, but a follow-up on the story from the last video where his ex-girlfriend accused him of domestic violence both in Russia and in Brazil after his move. Now, he has since responded to those allegations in a now deleted Instagram post, which now still exists on Brazil Bodybuilding News. If you guys want to see the original post, it's still up there on their Instagram page, where they go through and kind of describe his response, which most of these documents were written in Portuguese, so no better place to have that translated than Brazil Bodybuilding News. And basically he responds to the allegations saying that there's currently an open defamation lawsuit against the ex-girlfriend that made these allegations for slander, and this lawsuit was apparently opened by his current wife, Kim Souza. So the way that I'm interpreting this, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially I believe this is saying these bank documents and these bank statements of payments going to the ex-girlfriend, the way that I'm interpreting this is that the insinuation is that his ex was extorting him, and that's why he was sending his ex money in these screenshots. Some of them dated 2022, some of them dated as recently as March of 2023. So I wanted to kind of give his side of the story here, because this is the only response that he's given. And while in this translation, at least, I don't really see a direct response from him, like refuting the claims. But I'm kind of interpreting this as, if this is his response to the domestic violence allegations, I'm interpreting this as him saying, she was extorting him, saying, if you don't send me money, I'm going to say you did X, Y, and Z to me, so send me money. So again, he originally posted this on his page. He has since deleted it. We don't know exactly why he deleted it. And honestly, I can't really give a proper opinion of this response, because based on this translation, I don't see like a really good refutation of the claims. So all I can really say is, for both him and his ex's sake, I hope that he didn't do any of these things, because if he did, he's a scumbag. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and if you guys have a better translation or a better account of what happened here, if you guys are a native Brazilian or a Portuguese-speaking person, you guys have a better understanding of this post, feel free to let us know in the comments below. But this is the translation on Instagram of the recap post from Brazil Bodybuilding News. And again, the original post no longer exists on GoodVito's page with whatever his original caption was. But having seen both sides of the story now, honestly, I don't think either one of them made a very convincing case for their story. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, a physique update from Iain Valliere. Only a couple weeks removed now from the Toronto Pro. And this is the first real physique update that we've seen from him going into the show. A couple shots of his quads showing off his conditioning, the separation, the detail, the vascularity. And he also says Matt Jansen. That's who he tagged in this post. So apparently you could infer from that he's no longer working with Patrick Tour for this prep, and he's working with Matt Jansen for this Toronto Pro show. So this, I think, is an interesting turn of developments. It looks like maybe he was disappointed with the result at the Olympia. Obviously, I think he was. He slipped from 7th to outside of the top 10, way outside of the conversation from being in that first call-out, whereas last year, or I mean the year prior to 2022, he was kind of knocking on that door of being a top 6 first call-out guy. This year, he was way outside of the conversation. 2022, he was way outside of the conversation. So it looks like he felt like it was time for a change, leaving his coach Patrick Torre and on to Matt Jansen, who really has been one of the more successful coaches with the exception of Hadi Choopan, who I think is not only the greatest coach right now, but I think you can make an argument that Hadi Choopan could be the greatest bodybuilding coach of all time. When you look at his overall resume and overall number of Olympia title wins from his clients, he's one of the best. But that's kind of beside the point. Matt Jansen, his success lately with Nick Walker and Sean Clarita, those are really the two biggest examples of Matt's handiwork recently. Especially when you look at Nick Walker, I mean, one of the most consistently improving guys and most consistently conditioned guys since he started working back with Matt. I just think it's going to be very interesting to see that formula applied to Iain Valliere. Can it work wonders for his physique? And are we going to see something special from him in Toronto? Now, based on what we're seeing here in this physique update, he looks like he's already in crazy shape. Just a couple weeks out now. Actually, I just looked at the calendar. It's this weekend, so he's about a week out. That came really quick. It seems like it was just yesterday I was saying he was 5 weeks out. So it's actually this weekend, June 3rd and 4th. That's actually mind-blowing to think about how quickly that show came up. So I guess that means we should literally be getting the full competitor list any day now, if not later tonight. Probably tomorrow, though, since today's Memorial Day. The two biggest that I know of right now are just Hassan and Ian, but I guess we're going to find out who all from the Cali Pro and New York Pro decide to travel to Toronto and try their luck there. Now, we also got a couple posts from Hadi Choopan today. Your current reigning, defending Mr. Olympia champ, and I think the front runner still going into this year's Olympia, despite the fact that a lot of people are talking about some of these new up-and-comers. We got a couple different posts from Hadi today. The first one, I thought this pretty aggressive post, kind of this graphic design of a wolf holding a scepter and a sword, and the caption says, "Shut up while I'm king, shout after me, but for now I am." And then shortly after that, posting a physique update that says, "What you see in the picture is bigger in reality." He's kind of hitting the side relaxed pose, then he hits a couple side shots there. And look, I think just like the physique update that he posted immediately after the Pittsburgh Pro, this is not only a reminder, but a warning shot, because after the Pittsburgh Pro guest posing, so many people were talking about these guys, Samson Dowd and Nick Walker, then Andrew Jack posted a physique update. And look, realistically, honestly, a lot of the conversation lately has been, who is next in line for the Olympia title? Who's the next Mr. Olympia going to be? Samson Dowd, Nick Walker, Andrew Jack, those guys come to mind. Big Ramy, a lot of people thinking he can reclaim his title. And I feel like, honestly, genuinely, a lot of people are looking straight past and straight through Hadi Choopan because, like I said, he's really not as accessible as these other guys. You don't see him as much. You don't hear from him as much. He doesn't do as many appearances, if he does any at all. There's a language barrier. He's a little bit harder to understand. He's not as active on social media. You don't see him doing these guest posing. So he's not in the conversation during the rest of the year as much as these other guys are. Even, in the build up to the 2022 Mr. Olympia, you barely heard anything from Hadi Choopan at all, whereas all these other guys were making all kinds of noise. Then out of nowhere, Hadi Choopan comes in and wins the thing. I think a lot of the dialogue, the majority of it in 2022 was about Big Ramy, Nick Walker, Derek Lunsford, the switch to open for Derek. I think the same thing looks like it's happening again here in 2023, and all I have to say is don't be surprised while we're talking about all these new guys if Hadi Choopan comes in and wins this thing again this year, and everybody's talking about, well, we didn't see that coming. I think Hadi Choopan has set that Olympia conditioning bar pretty high, and I think there's a lot of guys that are going to be surprised when they try to out-condition him and try to beat him at the Olympia and fall short. And I got to be honest, I do not envy the position that Hadi Choopan is in right now, coaching Derek Lunsford, who's the runner-up, to try to get him to win the title, and coaching Hadi Choopan at the same time, who's the current champion, trying to defend and retain and win the title again. I'd say asking Hadi Choopan who he wants to be Mr. Olympia more between Derek and Hadi is probably the equivalent of asking a parent who their favorite child is. They say they love them both equally, but deep down, there's probably one they like just a little bit better. And I wonder if, speaking personally, but not speaking as a coach, if there's a guy that Hadi wants to win more, Hadi or Derek. Which, by the way, we did get a pretty brief but also insane physique update from Derek showing off his back in a back lat spread pose with Hadi Choopan. Obviously, one of Derek's strongest points is the back shots. The back poses for Derek are crazy. And to be honest, I think it's in these poses that you could make the strongest case for Derek winning the Olympia over Hadi or over anybody, really. Derek honestly has one of the most ridiculous off-the-charts backs of anybody in that Olympia lineup. I think he knows that, and that's why we see so many updates of him where he shows that off, which I think is really a good move. It's an intimidating move on his part. It's a good tactic. But look, we'll see, and only time will tell. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Will Derek move up at the Olympia or stay the same, or potentially move backwards? Will Hadi Choopan repeat, or will Derek become the new champion? Let me know those ultra early Olympia predictions in the comments down below. Now, the final story that I've got for you guys today, we did also get a physique update from Blessing Awodibu at 8 weeks out from his next show. Do you guys think Blessing is going to have redemption from his Olympia placing where he tied for last? He talked a pretty big game going into that Olympia, so these updates, I would say, are his road to redemption updates. Because as much as he talked going into the Olympia, his placing really didn't reflect that much talk. And I think, honestly, it's going to take some time for the Blessing hype to build back up. He's going to have to win this next show. He's going to have to qualify in a big way, I think, for the Olympia, for the Blessing hype train to get rolling again. Because, like I said, they really gave him a lot of time at that press conference to really talk and hype things up. And a lot of it was directed at Nick Walker, and the end result ended up being Nick like 13 placings ahead of Blessing. So I'm mostly interested to see how strong this next showing for Blessing really is, and can he reignite some of that conversation, some of that talk about him being a potential threat. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. That's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you leave a like on the video. If you did, subscribe, all that good stuff. Click the bell notification icon, and as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. Alright guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.